And the law of God is a revelation of God's character. So what I need to be, if I'm going to obtain salvation through law keeping, what I need to be is equal with God in perfection. So hopefully you see what Paul is drawing out here is that there is this massive chasm between who I am and who I must be. And so our natural tendency, because we are so deceived so often, is instead of saying, I can't do that, we attempt what I call suicidal pole vaulting. We want to leap the chasm. We want to get across to who we must be. But what happens? 100% of the time, we fall short. And the more we know about God and who He is and what is required, the more we see the chasm get wider and wider and wider, but we aren't any more able to cross it. And so we keep falling down to the bottom of that chasm. And then we climb back up to the top and we try to do it again. Human life under the law is like one massive episode of the Roadrunner and Coyote, and we are always the coyote. It never works out for us. Every time we try to take on the Roadrunner, we end up hurting ourselves. And then we try again and again and again, and it's always unsuccessful. And the law just provokes us to jump. And then we fail, and then we jump, and then we fail, and then we jump, and then we fail. But what's Paul telling us? That's actually, there's something about that is a good thing. How so? Because it's then when our ears and our eyes are really open to hear and to see the gospel. When we are at the bottom of the chasm, after we've fallen 100 times and we're laying on our backs and all we can do is look up, is where we see how wide that chasm truly is. Whenever we have the pole in our hands and we're attempting to leap across the chasm, we never see it. We can't hear it. We muster up enough courage and we think we have enough strength, and so we're going to go for it again. We have to be knocked down to the bottom to look up. So you see, the basic job description of the first use of God's law is to reveal, very simply, that you are not God. Because the law tells us that we must be just like God if we're going to be saved by that law. This is the death sentence for the old Adam. And if you look across the chasm and see what you must be, and you think, I can do it, you've forgotten who you really are. Only when you're saying, who will get me there? How can I possibly cross this chasm? How can I do it? I cannot do it on my own. I am helpless on my own. I need someone to get me over there because I can't do it. Only then do we start to grasp it. And so the law works to get us to a place where we will finally be kicked out of our endless audition to become our own Savior. The law will always bring us right up to the edge of that chasm, and it says you can try and jump, but you're not going to make it. And so what are you going to do? How are you going to get over there? It's pressing us continually to see our need, that we need everything that we don't have to get across. And the law exposes the lie of Satan that is so naturally bound up in our hearts. You will be like God. If you just get over there, you'll be like God. Is that even possible? Not in us. Not at all. Now, Paul has this strange thing that he says here at the end of verse 19. Why then the law? It was added because of transgressions, until the offspring should come to whom the promise had been made. And it was put in place through angels by an intermediary. Well, here's this point. The law will slay you. And when it slays you, it leaves you saying, who will get me there? And when it does that, I'm shown how much I need the promised seed to commend me to God. So this is the first use of God's law, to show me that I am condemned, to show me that I am unable